In space, no one can hear you scream. Welcome back, everyone. We are live here from our personal studios, bringing you another episode of Podcast Movie Podcast. We're available socially on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube.
Straight to it.
Probably every other location that I'm not familiar with. I have no access to it. I think that's all Logan.
Nope.
I've got the ship's crew here with me. We've got Logan, Tyler.
Hey guys, it's me.
Austin.
Hey, what's up?
What's up, guys?
What's up, man?
What's up, kiddo?
Look, I'm super excited to be on this podcast and talk about this movie. This movie has a special place in my heart, but I'll get into that later.
Yeah, we're gonna deep dive Alien, the franchise, possibly. I hope we stick to just the movie.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. For
You guys see that?
Your lights just flickered and it really freaked me out.
Freaked me out too.
I thought it was lightning.
I thought you did that on purpose.
No,
It's a little weird, dude.
I said Alien, and then that happened.
we're gonna deep dive Alien. We're gonna take a look at the impact that it had on sci-fi in general. Maybe get into a bit of the nuances of the lore built from the first movie, and hopefully we try to avoid bringing up Prometheus.
Oh no, I'm gonna go straight
We're
for
bringing up
Tyler has a
everything.
25-minute Prometheus block.
I do actually.
I do
All
want
right,
to
well-
say that I think the intention is we're gonna 99% talk about the first movie.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Yeah,
stick
yeah.
with the first movie.
I feel that. Well, hey, let's get it going, guys. What happened this week in your media consumption? I know we talk movies, TV most often, but you guys play anything? You watch anything? Tyler, let's go ahead. Let's get your monologue out of the way.
Beautiful.
What did you watch or play since last episode? Go ahead, man.
So every time that we do a movie, I try to keep my content consumption to like a theme of whatever movie that we're watching.
So you watched E.T. and Close Encounters?
Close. I watched Mars Attacks.
Yes.
And and Zack Snyder's Justice League, both movies about aliens. So, oh yeah,
I mean,
there you go.
yeah, but
There you
also
go.
no.
He's
Hard
not
reach.
wrong, but
Nope. Yep.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
no, yeah, Mars Attacks. Yeah, man, when was the last time you guys saw Mars Attacks? Austin, have you ever seen Mars
I
Attacks?
have seen Mars Attacks. It's one of the 4 movies
Wow.
I've ever seen.
It's one of the 4 movies.
So
Yeah.
you're telling? Hold on. You're telling me you've seen Mars Attacks,
yeah.
but you've
Hasn't
never
seen Terminator.
Terminator 2.
correct.
You've never seen.
Okay, so,
So many
first
other
of all,
movies.
Mars Attacks is a fucking masterpiece. Evidently,
Yeah, man.
Mars Attacks had way more to offer, on the what do you call it, the pop culture climate than Terminator, because I had never
Okay.
even considered watching
wow.
Terminator.
All right, guys, this has
And-
been Podcast, the movie, the podcast.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Well,
listening.
we gotta
we're wrapping it up
sort
here.
this out.
Put the bats down, please.
But seriously, like the cast that movie actually has. So, just real quick, this is part of the cast. It's Jack Nicholson, Glenn Close, Annette Bening, Pierce Brosnan, Danny DeVito, Martin Short, Sarah Jessica Parker, Michael J. Fox, Tom Jones, Lucas Haas, Natalie Portman, Jim Brown, Pam Grier, Jack Black. God, I mean, fucking for serious? Yeah.
Or serious.
Yeah. It's such a fun movie to watch.
It's real silly.
And it's so silly. I'm a huge Tim Burton fan. And it was a fun movie because of this, the theme from this week is aliens.
I'm gonna be honest with you though. Like the aliens in that movie, I think scarier than the aliens in Alien.
I don't think so.
I'm going to humbly
No,
disagree
like-
with that.
No.
Dude, have you seen
No.
them? Like they look so.
I mean,
it's
they
a mixture
look
of
freaky.
90s
Super
CGI and like
Yeah.
weird design. They look.
Yes.
Like I would be pretty terrified to see Big Brain coming at me. I'm just saying.
Not only that, but like they're sentient. They are They are advanced technologically. Yeah, man, the language that they speak is so fun, and I'm one of those. Of course, if you listen to this podcast, I'm one of those guys that like deep dives into every fucking thing that I watch. So, I read a thing about how they came up with the voice for the aliens on there, and it was at a meeting, and Tim Burton says it needs to sound something like this, and does the whole and they recorded that, so it's an actual audio recording, and they just took that and they sampled that. That was the entire language that they spoke throughout the entire film.
Wait, I'm not a Mars Attacks aficionado, but did you just blow my mind and tell me that Tim Burton made this movie?
Yes, it's a Tim Burton film.
That makes so much sense. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, keep going. That just
you
just awakened something.
And it's so silly and so fun and very light-hearted, although so many people die in the movie. It's kind of like a super light-hearted version of the film that we're going to be talking about today. The other movie that I watched, and I've been talking about this for the last couple of days on our group chat, which is Zack Snyder's Justice League. And Logan, did you have an opportunity to be able to watch any of that yet?
Didn't get into it. We talked about it the other night, and I just I didn't have enough time in the day to get it done with the other stuff that I had to take care of. But I've heard and read things from all kinds of sources, and I can tell you that it's something that I'm going to be watching. I mean, probably within the next 24 hours. Yeah, because I just can't wait anymore. I know, I know the basis of the story because I've seen Justice League.
If you've seen Justice League, then you know the basis of the story.
There's not really a spoiler situation, but
I've read a Superman comic before.
I have as well.
And you haven't you have never seen Justice League. Is that correct?
No, I've watched it 3 times.
Ew,
and I've never watched it in order, and I've never completed it during any of those sessions. I've watched it 3 individual separate times at different points in the movie and tried to piece it all together. And in all 3 viewings, I have ultimately played on my phone, turned the channel, or just went like this. They went way too hard into this too early.
Yeah, and that's what concerns me about this one, because my problem with the original was not like this, it didn't adhere to the source material, or I didn't feel like they focused enough on this, or there weren't any cool scenes. It was just boring to me. Like, I felt that it was pretty boring. Right. And whenever you're telling me, like, well, now there's just more of that, the initial thing to me I'm thinking is, well, that just seems like a huge waste of time. But from what I've read and heard from, Tyler and other people online and some of my other friends, there's more of it, but the way that it's put together and the story that it tells, not just in the broader sense, but as far as individual characters, is a lot more interesting and emotional.
It changes the entire scope and scale of everything that they were trying to accomplish in that film. I was not a fan of, vocally not a fan of the Justice League movie. And it just, because it feels like it's kind of piecemeal put together. It feels like there's no emotional arc at all. There is none of that throughout the entire film. And what you get, and look, a lot of people are not going to like Zack Snyder's Justice League, but at the same point in time, I mean, I guess it's because of the length. And I have no problem with, I'll sit there and watch a fucking 6-hour long. I mean, I've talked about it before. I've watched the Lord of the Rings movies, all 3 extended edition, back to back to back on multiple occasions. And so I have no problem watching something that's, just because it's a long movie. I mean, hell, we watch TV series now that are practically just, you have 10 hours worth of a single story that they're telling. And they could have broken Zack Snyder's Justice League out into like multiple different episodes. But I think that being able to watch it in its entirety, which is what I did. At the 2-hour mark, I took a break, walked away, got a drink of water, came back, and then continued watching it. So just to be able to kind of have an intermission halfway through. But like I said, they changed the overall the story arc the all of the interconnecting pieces, like ultimately what the entire movie was about, as a like they had to take out like the outer part of the shell, and all you get for Justice League is pieces of the inner part of what the story structure is. And it's as in the DC world, is Justice League the worst movie in the DC world? Absolutely not.
No.
I mean, in its original form, it's absolutely not the worst in the DC world.
What would you call the worst if you weren't including like early, like let's say like Zack Snyder verse? Like, what would you call the worst?
Green Lantern.
So Green Lantern is up
that's
there.
up there.
Green Lantern is up there. Green Lantern is
the Schumacher
really
Batman is pretty fucking bad.
Suicide Squad original cut.
Okay.
Yeah.
Suicide Squad is by far, in my opinion, it's that and Green Lantern to me that are the two highest competitors for worst of the DC franchise. Of any variation on the Batmans, the Schumachers, bat nipples.
I have no problem with the bat nipples.
I don't leave nowhere without my bat card. Yeah.
Yes,
I think it's a great movie. I think it's fucking fun, and I
It's
hate
90s
everybody.
as hell.
The meme of bat nipples. Like, dude, did you watch the movie or you stare at nipples for an hour and a half?
100% watched the movie.
Great
Watched the movie multiple
Love
times.
It. It's
It's not a
hilarious.
great movie.
No, it's awesome.
It's definitely not
great
a great
action,
movie.
great cinematography.
Green Lantern is the worst one. Like
Green
to me,
Green
it's
Lantern
number one worst one.
It
I like
might be
Suicide
the worst
Squad
one.
slightly more than Green Lantern.
Nah,
I did.
I like
Like, at
Ryan
least-
Reynolds.
Dude, did you see Ryan Reynolds supposedly, and this is all marketing, he just watched Green Lantern for the first
Yeah, I
time
saw that the other
like
day.
a week
Yep.
ago on Twitter.
Yep.
That's wild.
Yeah, you need to check
So-
that out. That'll change your opinion.
So that all being said, it's Zack Snyder's Justice League is I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it more than I enjoyed Justice League, which really isn't saying a whole lot. Comparing it to something like that. But I like that, we talked about this almost a year ago now whenever we started this podcast. Just this whole idea of this thing being created and, whenever you get something that's a director's cut or you get something that the studio is fucked with or, there's been so many different variations of that. And whenever we heard that there was going to be a Zack Snyder's Justice League cut, I was very hesitant on whether or not something like that would actually be good. Then the trailer came out and I was like, okay, fine, I'm going to watch it. And then upon viewing it, look, it's not a bad cut of the film at all. I think it just added more to it. And if you like your comic book hero movies with a little bit of profanity and large amounts of blood and violence, it definitely fills the quotas on that as well. So
Beautiful.
It's weird coming from like the Marvel universe that we get, and which kind of leads me to the third piece that I wanted to talk about. Has everybody seen the first episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
No.
So that's what I was going to talk about in my little section, because I watched it, and I have many, many thoughts about that.
I do too.
If
The other two have not seen
wanna-
it, but no spoilers.
Oh, you guys haven't seen it yet?
No, sir.
I've
No,
yet
I
to
haven't.
watch it, so yeah.
Okay. I feel like I can
take
talk
my
about
headphones
it.
off. Yeah, I
I-
can take my headphones off.
Well, it's easy to talk about the
No,
things
no.
that I want to discuss without bringing up spoilers, and I think that you
Okay.
guys would still be able to contribute to it.
Yep.
If you don't mind, the thing that I really liked about it is that at least in this first episode, and from what I've read, this is something they're going to continue, but it really looks into the specific details of what life is like for some people after the snap, or the blip that they call it, which the snap is so much cooler.
So much cooler.
There is a specific scene, and again, no spoilers here, but there's a specific scene where a character is going to do something that would ordinarily be mundane and just run-of-the-mill, but due to the circumstances of not existing as a person for the 5 years that happened in between the Thanos snap, it becomes incredibly complicated, and it sounds exactly like the kind of thing that you would expect to happen to these people by a
Yep.
bunch of scummy businesses and banks and things like that. And for those that have seen it, the scene I'm talking about.
Yep.
Tyler,
100%.
I think you know the scene I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That was my favorite scene of the entire thing by far, because it looked really into like, what are the societal effects of half the population disappearing for 5 years? You know, the things that you don't think about, like, you know, what happens to your property if someone else takes it over and you're not there? What happens to your credit score? You know, what happens
if you're married and then you blip out of existence and then the other person has to go on with their life?
I mean, we got a little bit of that in like the Spider-Man Homecoming, and we got a little bit of that.
Not to this level.
No, man.
I haven't watched it yet.
That's the thing that has been so very interesting for me, because you get some, you get some of the Marvel magic. I mean, that's kind of you know, implied in the type of action-y kind of story that you get. I was not prepared for the philosophical aspect to the show. I just wasn't. And there's a lot of like really deep, you know, heavy thought about some of this shit that happens to these people. And you know, after the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe, and after we finally get Endgame, and you know, we get the conclusion to this, you know, overarching story, and you know, I was one of the people that was like, oh shit, finally we're done. Finally, we can take a break from the Marvel. Yeah. And then WandaVision came out, and I was like, I guess I'll start watching this. And then it became, you know, WandaVision. Everybody in the world knows what WandaVision is now. And, you know, in the trailers, whenever I hear about they're going to make a Falcon and Winter Soldier TV show, I'm like, how in the fuck is that going to work? And, you know, I'm not to be the biggest, you know, Disney super fan, because, you know, they screw things up just as much as anybody else does. But what we've actually gotten from this is what looks like it's going to be another incredible show. I mean, it really does.
I can tell you that just from that first episode just from this one episode, it felt a lot more traditional Marvel than what WandaVision was.
Way more traditional
certainly.
Marvel, yes.
But in the way, in the Winter Soldier way, and not so much the Dark World way, if you know what I mean. There's literally a reference to, it's not an overt reference, but a reference to Winter Soldier in the opening scene with Falcon. And, you know, Tyler, if you think, you know what I'm talking about, where he kind of is on the plane. That immediately just made me super excited, because Winter Soldier is my favorite Marvel movie. I think it's the best constructed. And yeah, I loved it. I would say that that opening scene with Falcon in this show is probably like top 5 of all time, like action scenes that Marvel's put together, movie or show.
Yes,
really
it
cool.
does not feel like a TV show at all.
Yeah, it is high budget and it looks awesome.
Yep.
All right, guys. Definitely. So, without spoiling anything, I appreciate the breakdown of Winter Soldier and Falcon TV show that I ultimately should watch tomorrow. But let's kind of continue on here. We're 20 minutes in. Austin, what do you got, man? What happened this week on your end? What did you do?
Man, I'm glad you asked, because, you know, virtually nothing, like usual. So I usually watch the movie that we're supposed to watch, which I did. And it's funny because I don't know if you know, it's stupid of me to say. I'm sure all of you have seen this except for Rubyen. But I started to, just today, Hannah and I started watching 11/22/63 again.
I've seen the first 2 episodes.
It is fantastic miniseries based on Stephen King's book of the same name. And
I wonder if Tyler has read it.
Oh, you know what? I have a question for Tyler Weiss. Hey,
go ahead, man.
Have you read the book 11/22/63 by Stephen King?
As a matter of fact, I have.
Here we
go.
Wow. Okay.
It actually it changed the way that I look at downtown Dallas, which it says a lot. I've been to downtown Dallas a whole bunch of times. Been down there to Dealey Plaza and the Book Depository. I've done the whole thing.
The Grassy Knoll.
Done the whole
Magic Bullet, man.
It is. I've done the whole thing in Dallas, and looking at it through the viewpoint of 11/22/63 from the book standpoint versus the TV show standpoint. The TV show does a really good job. The book obviously is.
Dude, just say that you hate James Franco, okay?
No, James Franco's he's a good actor.
He does a really good job.
Really good job in this TV show. So if you haven't seen it, it's
and
it's excellent.
And I've never read the book, but I mean I own the book.
It's
course.
long.
I mean,
holy shit, it's long.
And I'm sure
it's like 1,400 pages or some shit.
I'm more than certain the book has far more details in it too. But I think even for the way the TV show is made, like I mean, I feel like the TV show is really well done. I mean, I've never read the book, but I feel like it's an excellent adaptation of it. I don't know if that's true or not because you've read it, but I haven't. But I just feel like it is when I watch it.
It is it's to an extent it is, but I mean, there are because it's a TV show. They have to be able to veer off, and they have to be able to combine characters and create characters they're artificial just to be able to further the story along. I'm glad that it's done as a what is it, 10 episodes?
It's like 7 episodes.
Yeah, miniseries on Hulu. I'm glad that it's done that way, as opposed to being a 3-part miniseries or trying to. Could you imagine if they tried to condense that entire thing into one movie?
No,
it
wouldn't work.
Something like that doesn't work.
It's like the It movies. If they made those into one, I just don't think that could be done feasibly well. It would be crammed together. It'd be dumb. But outside of restarting that, I also restarted the video game The Evil Within 2. So I don't know if you guys have played that.
Spooky game,
but the first open world horror game that has ever been made, and it is excellent. I've already played through it and beat it one time, but I just decided, fuck it, let's just restart it, because sometimes, like rewatching movies, I like to replay games more than I rewatch movies because there's so much you can miss in a game, just like you can miss in a movie. So I do the same thing where I pick my favorites and I replay them, and I just like go through them and find shit that I missed before. And it's a good experience. The same way it feels when you rewatch a movie.
Can I ask you a question about that game?
Yeah.
I've not played either of those games. So what is the premise of it? Like, what exactly is it? It looks.
Boy,
is it like a zombie thing, or is it?
Nope. Oh no, sir. So imagine there's a machine, and it's called STEM. STEM, and basically in the center of this machine there is the brain of a person, and outside of this brain there's about, let's say, 10 bathtubs that are in a circle that are surrounding the brain, and basically you get put inside of this bathtub and you get hooked up to all these wires, and it's filled up with this chemical and all this shit. Once you're hooked up, you go under, and once you go under, you're going into the brain that's connected into the middle. So it's like you're projecting yourself into the mind of that brain, and specifically in the first Evil Within, that brain belongs to it's just a psychopath. It's just a psychopath murderer guy, and you go inside of it, and you're basically fighting all of his demons in his head, and it's all fucked up and scary, and just it's great, and I think it's wonderful. Okay. But and then the second one,
that is super sci-fi sounding.
Oh yeah, and the second one takes the same idea, but it puts a little bit of a twist on it. It basically, I don't know, it's weird. It takes like the main character's daughter and it puts her into the machine, so you're going into her mind, but her mind is starting to fail, and like it gets real complicated, and it's even more scary than the first one, and it's wonderful. So if you're into really weird, like Japanese, very almost Resident Evil-esque like storytelling, like it's great. Like it's fun to jump into and see it. But other than those, that's all I've done this week. Is I restarted Evil Within 2, and I'm starting 11/22/63, and of course watched Alien.
Beautiful,
cool.
Rubio, did you watch anything additional?
On my end, again, I don't feel like I watch stuff anymore. I don't know what's going on. I need you guys to kind of like harass me through text or Discord. Tell me what to watch.
Okay.
I'll curate a list for you.
I've got a ton of stuff for you.
Please do. Like I got my Kindle. I've been reading Harry Potter.
Hell yeah.
You know, I play video games at this point.
I get lost whenever I'm reading Harry Potter.
Yeah, me too.
I do until I come across like a racial stereotype, and then I'm like, oh yeah.
You don't like anti-Semitism in your children's books, dude?
There's a character in this book named Cho Chang.
Yep.
That is
I feel like you're reaching at this point.
There's more than that. What about like a Finnegan guy, the Irish guy who likes to blow stuff up?
Seamus Finnegan?
Yeah.
I eat potatoes, dude.
It's literally, it's like the most base. And look, let me just clarify. Okay. I've read the Harry Potter books probably a dozen times, like all of them, total. Every single one individually a dozen times.
Yep.
But J.K. Rowling's kind of a cunt, so.
Well, now you're being fucking misogynistic. So moving on from Harry Potter lore.
Isn't she also transphobic?
Yes, that's what I'm referring to. 100%.
Okay, yeah, now I'm with you.
Yeah, that's what I didn't mean. Like you know, I'm not just saying like she's just an asshole to people, but like she is an asshole specifically to, you know, trans people.
A very specific group of people.
You're saying she's a TERF.
She is 100% a TERF.
Okay.
She can.
Well, on my side of things,
I take that back.
Unrelated to Harry Potter, anti-Semitism, and hate speech against the LGBTQ plus community. I also have just continuously been watching. No, I'm just saying, you know, unrelated to those things.
Okay.
I've been watching 30 Rock, which is also very similar, I guess, in the sense that there's some racist stuff and some LGBT
blackface on that show?
Well, yes.
Okay. There's all kinds.
There's also blackface on The Office, so white people have a lot to try to defend there. But I've been watching 30 Rock, and it still holds up for me, you know. And,
it's excellent.
You know, besides 30 Rock, I'm just playing a lot of video games, like on Austin's side. I've not played Evil Within, but believe it or not, guys, I booted up Grand Theft Auto 5 recently.
Classic.
So I know we had our Red Dead run, and I actually have Red Dead installed. The new season's coming out soon, so when you guys are ready, I'm ready.
It's already there, buddy.
Mm-hmm. It's in there, the new bounty hunter thing or whatever.
But have you guys heard about this? You heard this? You seen this on the news?
You hear about this?
Grand Theft Auto 5 had a mod from a community developer.
Yes, I did hear.
Yeah, the boot up mod, yeah.
Yeah, this guy on GitHub was like, hey, here's an open source mod. GTA boots in like 35 seconds now. He's like, it's free, just install it. I don't know if it's legal or not, but just play single player.
Yep.
A week later, Rockstar's like, hey, we checked your source code. Thanks for fixing our game. Here's $10,000.
Yep.
We're going to make this an official update. So I was like, there's no way. Also, $10,000 seems pretty small for the fact that he fixed your 8-year-old game.
That made literally over $1 billion or more.
Yeah, congrats on the guy for making $10,000, but it seems small. So they released an official update. I played GTA 5, and yes, it boots immediately. I'm in a car within a minute of me starting the game, which is
really
so crazy.
It's crazy.
It's a big deal for GTA 5.
It used to, like, legit, it used to be like an 8-minute boot up.
Yes.
And then if you go from story mode to online, go fucking make a sandwich, man.
Yes.
Did you guys ever play GTA 5 on the Xbox 360?
Yes, that's...
Bro. Look.
I have a video of myself opening night, when GTA came out opening night, I have a video of me unboxing the game. Okay.
Yeah, that game was not at all prepared to be run on those old consoles.
No. Oh, but we did, though.
Oh, I did, yeah.
Yeah.
Played the ever-living shit out of that game. It was real bad, man.
And it looked
Hell yeah, played the ever-living shit out of that game.
Oh, yeah. I have many hours in GTA 5.
But, so GTA 5, I sweat on Apex Legends every day at this point. I'm still that guy. I beat the game at this point. I have every achievement. I did the full season challenge. I've won with 8 different characters in the past month. I just can't stop playing Apex Legends, and it's not even fun. I'm just playing it out of habit, and just because I'm so good at the game that
Oh, okay.
I imagine, I'm not bragging, but
okay.
Listen, I just imagine.
Oh.
Sure.
Hold on, I broke my fucking arm, patting myself on the back.
Listen, I'm just saying,
bragging.
you know how like Beethoven
I'm just saying I'm
was,
better than all of you.
like Beethoven was probably playing a song, but at the same time yawning and looking to the side like at chicks, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I see you over there."
Yeah,
that's
gotcha.
me playing Apex Legends. I'm just
Understood.
I'm just 360 no scoping free
God tier. Gotcha.
Yeah. Anyways, so
Well,
what's
that's me
up?
Like,
whenever
no-
we play Clone Hero. So
like,
next time we
no
play
bullshit.
that, we'll battle it out and see who wins.
The other night, I had fallen asleep while watching a movie. Weird, I know. Imagine that. And then I come from the living room, come back in the studio. I go to turn off my computer. I happen to open it up. Discord is open. It's 2 a.m. Ruben's online playing Apex Legends.
This is a fact.
No bullshit. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, he's just
This dude's got a problem.
I can't stop. I actually spent $20 on the game like a week ago, and I don't spend money on games, so I don't know what's going on. Somehow they roped me in, and the game is really fun. But Logan, what's up, man? Just take over here, dude. What's going on? What are you doing? What'd you watch? What'd you play?
I already talked about Falcon Winter Soldier. That was the main thing. We're running a little long on the intro here.
Yeah,
so
no,
I don't really want to talk about much else, but I will say in reference to the things that I talked about with Falcon Winter Soldier, I did go back and watch Spider-Man Homecoming as well. And man, I'm really excited for the third Spider-Man. Like, it's,
me too.
He's been revealed, so it's going to be crazy to see what happens there. Other than that, it's the usuals for me. Always Sunny, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I'm back in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It's been the required 10 episodes since I mentioned it, so I'm contractually obligated to say I'm restarting Brooklyn Nine-Nine again. It's my The Office.
Do you skip season 1?
Do I skip season 1? Sometimes I do. Season 1 is definitely it's okay. It gets better by the second half.
They're trying to find the footing. The characters, I feel like the characters don't even have their own voices yet. The characters are...
Oh, the weirdest thing, watch the pilot episode. It's completely different. It's a completely different show. They call Jake Peralta JP. They're trying to call him JP, and that's his name. That didn't stick. They're trying to make Amy this super competitive about she grew up with all these brothers and saying that's gone.
Never mentioned the
never
brothers
mentioned again. Yeah, so a lot of it it didn't work out. It's just really weird to see where it went. But yeah, I try to start in the. I usually go from the Halloween episode of the season 1 on, and go from there. Everything before that, it's like you said, it's fine. It's fun. But otherwise, I'm pretty much good. Did you guys want to take a quick 5?
You guys ready?
I'm ready to go into Alien. If you guys are,
I'm ready.
I'm ready. I'll hang out if you guys need a break. Let's take a break, but I'm ready.
I just need a quick 5.
That's fine.
And we'll be back.
Hey, welcome back, guys. We're here. I'm walking us back into this, and I want to talk about the opening to the movie. Just real quick, let's get some takes here, guys.
Yep.
The movie
What
opens.
Movie? What movie are we talking about?
We're talking. Well, I'm not talking about Indiana Jones. I'm talking about Alien. 2 years prior,
1979.
1979. Alien, this small indie, very just straight to theater. What do you mean? No, you're shaking your head. No. What do you mean?
Definitely not indie.
It's not indie, but it's a big budget. But it's still small.
Huge budget.
It's an under. Nobody knows who any of these actors are. Nobody
that's
knows.
True.
Nobody knows what's going on. There's one trailer that comes out, and it's no one can hear you scream in space. Alien.
In space.
And then people are like, I love Star Wars. I love Star Wars. Let's watch this movie. That's exactly what happened. And the reason I say that, this movie opens fading over some planets. The Nostromo comes in, this, mining cargo ship that comes in, returning to Earth.
I want you guys to know that I wish I had my webcam right now because I'm wearing my Wayland Corp shirt, and I'm very disappointed that I couldn't show it off.
That's awesome. Hey, can you take a picture and post it on the podcast Instagram?
I will not.
Okay, that makes sense.
All right, cool.
All right.
But this ship comes over, guys. Very, very George Lucas. Ridley's like, hey, let's take this minifig and fly it over the top of the camera, and present the scale of this ship, in the sense that you're under it and it's massive and it's coming in hot. I love it. That's every sci-fi movie ever. If it doesn't have a under the ship camera shot within the first 10 minutes, I don't want to watch it.
Very Trekky as well.
Yep.
Well, hold on. one thing that sets this apart from Star Trek for me is I like that almost every character in this movie is fucking dirty and smoking cigarettes.
This movie. That's more the 70s.
It's just the 70s in general.
And they feel like real people.
I don't know.
Just fucking
it is like a
bush,
isn't it? It is
and
like
mustaches.
a cargo ship, though, isn't it? Like they're not.
Yeah. It
It's
is.
not like a what do you call it? Like just a regular vessel for like people, like a commercial vessel. Fuck, it's not a commercial.
Not a
vessel.
space vessel. Yeah,
it's just
Yeah,
chilling.
and
not a scientific vessel. They're not.
Well,
out
they have
doing
have a
studies.
scientist on the ship.
Yeah,
But that I think that's just required by the company, right? So that's one thing that really sets this movie apart for me is the very beginning lore of the Aliens franchise, which ultimately was not created. I mean, it was just this movie Alien. This movie is the cyberpunk fucking dirty grit of the late 70s entering the 80s sci-fi. I mean, they were every character in the movie is a non-beautiful, a non-pretty lead character. You don't know who's going to die. You don't know who's going to survive. This movie has no central character in the sense that the way that a general Act 1, Act 2 plays out. We don't realize that Ripley's, essentially, quotation, the hero until the end of the movie. I mean, any second, anybody could die. And I can imagine watching this movie in 1979, every scene you're like, who's next? Who's gonna die? What's gonna happen here, right? Because going into this blind, there is no overarching like this story is about this person. It's about the cargo ship in general. It's about the crew in general. And my understanding, and somebody correct me here, but all of the character names, every person that plays throughout this movie has a non-binary, a non-gender conforming name.
Yep.
And when they wrote this script, ultimately they wrote the script without any specific actor or actress in mind, and they played out these characters based on who applied for the role. And I think that's very interesting the way it came out.
Well, so to put a little bit of spin on that, all of them except for Ripley. Ripley was actually written as supposed to be a male character, and Sigourney Weaver was
the unknown Sigourney Weaver,
complete badass, and then came on this movie, really untested, but really showing her mettle on the set, and immediately it was known that she was going to become an important figure in acting. Just to kind of really run down the cast, I mean, we have Sigourney Weaver as Ripley. We have Tom Skerritt as Dallas. John Hurt plays Kane. Veronica Cartwright is Lambert. Harry Dean Stanton. I love Harry Dean Stanton. He's Brett.
Yep.
Ian Holm, the late Ian Holm, incredible actor as Ash. Yaphet Kotto, who we just lost
R.I.P.
2 weeks ago now. R.I.P. That is the entirety of the cast of characters that is actually in this film,
and let me
other than
say
the
real
guy
quick,
who does the alien. I'm sorry, go ahead.
For Yaphet Kotto, like I wasn't 100% familiar with him, but he seemed he was that actor that seemed familiar. Like I've seen this guy somewhere, right?
Yeah.
But I go back and I look now, and like you go through his filmography, and
95 credits, by the way.
He's been in everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course.
All kinds of stuff.
And it blows my mind at like how recognizable he is, yet how much his name wasn't recognizable, if that makes sense.
This movie has a lot of now, like, oh, it's that guy, or that person in it for sure. It's like, rewatching it this week, it's like, oh, that's Bilbo Baggins.
Oh yeah,
what's he doing in here?
Bilbo Baggins is more than just Bilbo Baggins for me. I mean, if you continue to go back, I mean.
Well, that's my entire point. It's like, it's he's got all of these people have some very distinct roles. Like even Sigourney Weaver.
I mean, she's been in so many. Yeah, man, she's been in
all kinds of stuff. But they have these distinct
Avatar,
roles, and then a little bit of everything else too. But it's just like, wow, these people have been in all kinds of stuff and established actors since then.
And if you guys haven't pulled up Yaphet Kotto's Wikipedia, just please pull it up and look through his credits and look through his entire life experience. I mean, this is it's such an in-depth look at his career that I was not familiar with before watching this movie. And I really appreciate his play on Parker throughout the movie, and especially coming into the 70s and the 80s with him being, quotation, the black man of the movie. He plays the very, just like, he makes the most sense. Why are we not freezing him? Why are we letting them in? Why are we not freezing him on ice? Why are we not studying this later? Let's get back, let's get this over with, our original mission. Like, he's if they would have just listened to him from the beginning.
Well, him and also Ripley. Ripley wanted to have him quarantined whenever they had the alien.
Yeah, and Ripley follows the law to the point where she's like, "You're gonna get your shares. Don't worry about it. It's the law. Don't open the door. It's the law." Like, Ripley is by the books on everything. She is a corporate, worker. Period. Full stop. She is all about doing it by the books, by the law. Even when she gets onto the mother console and she's strategically typing in the commands and typing in the console, she's like, "Oh, override this, override." Like, she's doing everything by the books. And, I don't want to say, like, follow the rules and you'll be okay. But, like, she's the only one that survives because she was following everything by the books. Like, the emergency escape plan, blowing up the ship, putting on the suit. Like,
she just did the smart things.
Not necessarily like following the rules, but just understanding the situation and understanding the procedures and applying those procedures when necessary. Just
she followed she followed the introductory training.
She paid attention to the e-learnings,
There you go.
She did all the e-learnings.
Yeah.
Hey, so before we dive headlong into the movie, I mean, we kind of already have just a little bit. Can I do a little bit talking about kind of the history of the film? And there's some really important people that I wanted to be able to bring up.
As long as you bring up H.R. Giger at some point.
That's one of my very important people.
This wouldn't be an episode of Podcast the Movie, the podcast, without Tyler Weiss going into great detail about
All right, guys, go ahead, buckle in, get your water, sit back, and here we go.
So this film is actually, it's written by a guy by the name of Dan O'Bannon. Dan O'Bannon, he wrote this. He was working on. I don't know if you know about anything about the history of the movie Dune, but Alejandro Jodorowsky, he was doing an adaptation of Dune before the actual Dune that we got in 1982. And during this adaptation, like Dan O'Bannon was brought in, and they did all this pre-production and everything like that, and it was all in Paris, and everything fell through. So everything fell through. But it was also on that film that he actually got to work with Chris Foss, H.R. Giger. Some people say Giger.
It's Giger.
H.R. Giger. It's Giger.
He says that himself.
Yeah. And this guy, his name is Jean Girard. Everybody knows him as Mobius, though. And it's the work of these people together that bring us this film that we get to see from its original telling by Dan O'Bannon. It was originally, I think it was called Star Beast. that was the original name of this. It was such a terrible name. Yeah. And he decided to use the name Alien because the total number of times that alien was actually said in the script, and as well, like how it could be used as a noun or also as a verb. And so he kind of liked this whole story about it's kind of a horror script that takes place on a spaceship. And, look, at first nobody had any interest in being able to make this movie. And even like I think it was Warner Brothers, who was the production company that did this movie. They had even 20th Century Fox is who it was, correct?
Yeah.
And so they were going to pass on the script, and even like they brought Ridley Scott in as a director. He had just done a film. I think his first film ever was Duelists, and I think this is his second film that he ever made. And so whenever they brought Ridley Scott in, Ridley Scott, he's a big storyboarder guy, And so like he went through and they storyboarded this entire film and then broke it down, bit by bit, and showing, not really in depth in detail because they didn't actually know what the alien was going to look like yet because they hadn't brought H.R. Giger onto into the fold of being able to make the movie. But it allowed them to actually visually see what this movie would be. And 20th Century Fox, they were, looking for some type of property that they could use to compete with films like Star Wars. So, Star Wars comes out and it's just this incredible fucking monumental hit and just
toys.
And beyond just the toys, just the monetary gain that they got from that as a film studio is just incredible. And so they wanted something that was, how now horror movies is kind of the thing that you can make a horror movie really, really cheaply. And, and you can turn a profit on being able to, put a bunch of no-name actors in it. But it's going to have an audience. Well, so, when sci-fi first kind of became this, this crazy thing where everybody really wanted to see it, they didn't have a whole lot of property that was out there that allowed them to be able to kind of pick and choose from different stories. And basically this guy has this script and, it finds its way in front of 20th Century Fox, and they just happen to have Ridley Scott on contract. And so this kind of movie, it almost fell together by accident, or by happenstance. And during the production of the movie, they were trying to come up with like a visual aspect to it. And so they ended up getting H.R. Giger to come in, and, they loved this whole idea in one of H.R. Giger's books, is where you actually get the original concept of what becomes, the xenomorph, the alien, that whole, phallic head. And this was a whole thing behind H.R. Giger's. These are all of his original drawings and his designs and everything like that. And Alien, the thing, whenever you go back and you look at that, that art, that's all pre the movie Alien, you can actually see all of, H.R. Giger's work, and you're like, did he copy this off of Alien? No. Alien designed their entire look from H.R. Giger. And it's just incredible. It's incredible that he designed all of the everything from the xenomorph in every aspect to it, from the face hugger to the chest burster to what we end up seeing as the completed alien with the elongated head and everything like that. I believe it was actually Ridley Scott, though, that he wanted to have, it was supposed to be like a tongue that came out. And H.R. Giger was like, I'm going to fuck him up with this. And so he creates that second little mouth that comes out and does the thing it's so crazy and so creepy.
It's fucking
And
terrifying.
if you go back and you
look at
Giger's
there's not a lot
work,
like horror-wise around this time period and before.
No.
That is
And
so viscerally
it's a horror movie.
terrifying.
Yeah. It's a horror movie that takes place in space. So by default, it does become a sci-fi movie because there are spaceships involved and there are other worlds. But this was originally designed as this horror thriller that just happens to take place on a spaceship for the vast majority of it. And like H.R. Giger, they created this whole design of the ship that was already on the planet, and his whole he wanted to make it as phallic looking as possible. And if you actually go back and watch the movie,
most of his artwork, most of everything, even in this movie itself, it's all a play on the sexuality,
yes,
of course,
of man and woman, and rape, essentially. Like there's even a scene in the movie where the alien essentially, when he kills the first female character, he kills her by bringing his, phallic looking tail up through the middle of her. H.R. Giger, everything he does in some sense has some sexuality to it, whether it's, consensual sexuality or violent sexuality.
Yeah, and I think it's intent, like this discomfort and this obvious want to be different.
And fuck you up and scare the shit out of you at the same time.
Like a quick aside, if you guys don't mind.
Sure.
first learned about H.R. Giger and the influence that he had on Alien, I was working at a Walmart years ago, and I worked early in the mornings, so no customers. I was just doing my own thing, so I was listening to a podcast. Wish I could remember the episode and even the podcast it was. If I track it down, I'll post it to Facebook. But it was a cartoonist, Scott Johnson, who does his own podcasts, and someone else, and they were talking about art and things like that, and H.R. Giger got brought up, and kind of geek culture and Alien and a whole lot of backstory, and they went into kind of the whole phallic nature of some of the stuff, the R-rated nature of the designs, and super, super interesting. And, there's only so much we can get into that on the show here, but if you are at all interested in kind of the design and the artistry and things like that, I would definitely say do some deep dives into H.R. Giger when it comes to just weird, out there, just mind, like the shit that he comes up with.
Oh, I know.
It will freak you out.
It's like steampunk meets cyberpunk meets fucking future postmodern. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, it's out there for sure.
It's almost like similar to when we watched Clockwork Orange. It's almost this gratuitousness where it's like it's not necessarily meant to do anything more than freak you out and gross you out. Like, that is its main purpose. Throw out any kind of artistic things or whatever it might be or deeper meaning. Its primary focus is to just scare the shit out of you in this particular movie's case. And it did that for me. Alien is probably... I was trying to think about this and go back and remember for this podcast, but I believe Alien was the first sci-fi movie I ever watched. Barring maybe Star Wars. I think I may have watched a Star Wars before it, but like I've talked about my dad on the show a whole lot and how he's a big movie fan, and that's what really got me into movies. Growing up, we watched a lot of movies, and Alien was one of the ones that he was like, "This is something that you guys got to watch." Now you got to understand something about my dad. He doesn't really take into consideration the age and the content of the movie. As long as there's no boobs, it's pretty much okay. And so I watched Alien.
Your dad's not a boob man?
That's not. That's that's not necessarily what I was going for. But
oh, okay, my bad.
You'll have to ask him. You'll have to ask him on that. But yeah, this is one of the first ones I ever watched, so it had a big effect on me.
How old were you?
I was probably 10 to 12.
I was 6.
Maybe younger. Yeah, I was going to say maybe even younger than that when I first watched Alien. And it had a huge effect on me.
Shouldn't have watched it. Fucked me up.
Shouldn't have watched it. Oh, no.
Yeah. There's a lot of movies that I shouldn't have watched whenever I was younger. Did. And hey, man, if you ever want to have your kid grow up to be somebody like me, I'll give you the guide path on how to be able to get there. It's no bueno. Same thing. Yeah, I watched it whenever I was super young and like super incredibly influential on me.
Yeah.
From the standpoint of it being a scary movie, and also from the standpoint of it being this whole thing. By the time that you got to be able to watch it, I mean, how many of those movies had come out by that point in time? So right. I know Aliens had come out at that particular point in time.
Yeah, whenever we first watched it, it was, again, I've mentioned this too, it was one of those first movies that we got on a DVD player, and I think we had gotten the whole trilogy at the time. So we watched this, Alien, and then we kind of went to Aliens and so on and so forth, the first 3. So, I got introduced to it that way. I know we weren't going to get into it too much, but I like the sequels of this movie.
Of course.
Well, 2 and 3. Everything after that.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well,
Alien Resurrection.
You even like 3?
Yeah, look.
Austin's with it.
3 is not as bad as Resurrection. And, if you've... As much as I want to be able to really like the arc of something, and I guess that we're going to get into that, whenever we get to the Terminator franchise as well. There are things that you kind of have to think of as being canon, and there are things that you kind of have to think of as being, it's just very superfluous. And Alien 3,
You mean
and
Alien
Resurrection? Yeah, and Resurrection. Yeah, Alien Cubed. They never should have been made. They did make it, and they made the best out of Alien 3 that they possibly could. I mean, it's like one of is it Fincher's first movie that he did?
It's up there. It's one of his first ones. Yeah.
And the company was going to make it, and it's just what they were going to do, and so
it was very much a cash grab situation.
Look, yes. So I mean, shit. Even Aliens, the sequel, is a cash grab, but at the same point in time, what they were able to do in that movie. Not going to go too far into it because I'm certain that one of these days we're going to cover Aliens as well. James Cameron, yep, incredible.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that you can say that about a lot of different series style movies that are out there. It's just that what they do, man, in Alien and Aliens, trying to recreate that into something that is Prometheus and Alien Covenant. I mean, it still kind of continues the story of from they kind of pretend that Alien 3 and a Resurrection don't exist, and then they jump right past those, and you basically get Prometheus.
Did Prometheus, you guys kind of but jump past? I was certain Prometheus was a prequel, isn't it?
Yeah. So
yes.
you have to basically we're not even going to focus on those. those are non-existent entities.
Yeah,
but
I don't know. I briefly would just personally say that Prometheus was a major letdown for me because it's not just one of those things where it comes out and you're like, oh, this is dog shit, and they didn't try. It was just a cash grab. There were legit things in that movie that you could see the potential there. You could see what they were really trying to do, and they just missed the mark consistently. And that's what made it felt even worse for me.
It feels like it could be, with just a couple of tweaks, be a really good movie.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
that's the thing that kind of sucks about that is, I should talk a little bit about Zack Snyder's Justice League. When we start talking about director's cuts and things like that, I would love to see like a 3.5 hour long version of Prometheus to kind of really let us explore some of the ideas and topics that were brought up into that, as opposed to, I don't know, like the last half of that movie just feels very rushed, and it doesn't feel like there is a very good. It doesn't feel like there's a very good payoff. And should I still watch Covenant anyway because I'm that guy? But
I actually really enjoyed Covenant.
See,
I haven't even
enjoy
watched
Covenant.
I think I just more so enjoyed. I liked Covenant because to me it felt like it. And this might sound kind of dumb, but I think I liked it because it felt so much like the first Alien movie to me. Like it was a crew, and it literally felt like Alien 1 to me. But it was just made modern day.
That was very intentional.
Yeah.
So,
you guys know we haven't done too many horror movies on we only really done one, right?
Yeah.
Halloween.
No, we did two.
Oh yeah, I guess we did Halloween, even though that's not scary at all these days. But
yeah.
So we've done a few, and I've made my opinion known. I'm not a huge horror guy, right?
I love horror, man.
But I love the Alien movies. Like I love it. I
do too.
I'm a big fan of them. I think it's the sci-fi thing that gets it for me.
Yeah.
And so I am willing to
overlook. If you mix the sci-fi and the horror together, it gives you that extra little crispiness on the edges.
I like Alien versus Predator.
I love it.
Okay,
I do too, man.
I love that movie. It's just I think it's a little bit of nostalgia for me as well. Kind of being my introduction to sci-fi. So I would be willing to accept if someone said, "Look, these are not good movies," even though I like them. You're probably right. I get it.
I think the world agrees with us. Alien on IMDb gets an 8.4 out of 10.
Yeah.
So I'm not looking at the Rotten Tomatoes score, but I'm fairly certain that the audience meter on that right there is probably quite high as well.
Well, I think Alien is pretty loved. Yeah.
Yes.
It's just the sequels people are less hot on.
Cut into you guys real quick. Like I really just want to remind you that researching this movie and watching it again, in this modern age, this movie won the Academy Award for Best Visual Effects.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that. I mean,
of course.
Even today, by today's standards, when I watched this movie looked better than movies I've watched recently that just came out. I mean, the practical effects that they use, as far as like, even the the face hugger, whenever Ash is
the face hugger is such a fucking incredible creation.
Scares the shit out of me.
I mean, it's wrapping around the neck.
Yeah,
whenever
that's
it ultimately falls off, and the scene where they come in to remind me what's the character's name that is the first to get the face hugger.
What character?
I can't remember his name. He's the guy.
He's John Hurt. Kane is his character name. Yeah.
Is it Kane?
Yeah.
Okay, so whenever Kane is ultimately infected, and also forget protocols. I mean, this guy gets an alien substance on him they've never seen before ever. It's first time in human history they get contact with an alien vessel, and they just the entire crew's like, let's walk into his cabin and check on him. Oh, he's sitting up. Nobody's like, oh, maybe it's viral. Maybe it's in the air. They're just like, oh, hey, he's doing good. It's all right, cool.
Well, because it has already died, and after it has already died, they poke it with the thing, and Ian Holm is like, oh, it's reflex action, and so everybody's like, oh shit, it's dead.
And that scene
then it feels like he's going to be in a coma though. And then whenever he wakes up, and he looks fine, and he feels fine, and everything looks great, and it's all fine.
And that's where the visual effects come in, right? So they're all at the fucking table eating dinner. Everybody's good. It's ready to go, and then the chest burster happens. I can only imagine. I don't personally have the experience, but I can only imagine 1979 summer blockbuster. Nothing's going on. Let's go watch the movie Alien. I heard it's graphic.
Yeah.
This fucking creature on a fucking 80-inch television in the middle of the theater, Ultra HD widescreen. Because I mean, let's be honest, guys. In the 70s, the movie theater was the highest quality you could ever watch anything. I mean, it truly was 4K.
Yeah.
They watched this creature burst out of this man's chest.
Yeah.
And blood squirts everywhere, and then he goes ah, and sprints across the coffee table.
Yeah.
Like there was nothing
Isn't that
like
clearly
that.
like just a dude saying that too. Like that little sound.
Okay, so
because I know
you
they're
guys
like
know
in
about that
costumes
scene, though,
and
right?
Stuff. Yeah.
So you guys know there's the story behind the scene, and I'm certain that a lot of it is exaggerated. But I'll tell you the telling of the creation of that scene that I love, which is only John Hurt really knew what was going to happen. Everybody else kind of had an idea, because John Hurt is, he's wearing this prosthetic, and he's laid out on this table. And so, they start the scene, and it's multiple takes and multiple different angles and things like that. So the scene that I'm referring to specifically is they knew something was going to happen. They knew that, that an entity was supposed to explode from John Hurt, but they had no idea that it was going to spray blood all over the room. They had no idea it was going to become as violent as it was. And like that whole sequence, man, whenever he starts having seizures and they're trying to stick the fork under, the handle of the spoon or whatever it is under his tongue to keep him from biting his tongue. And just, there's so much that's going on in that moment. And the first time that thing pulses out of his chest, I'm telling you, as a little kid, the very first time that you watch this movie, I don't give a shit if it's on a 110-foot screen. I don't care if it's on a 32-inch tube TV in your house. It is fucking horrifying.
It gave me... It freaked the hell out of me, I tell you that.
Nightmares for years. And, oh my God, man. It like the reactions on the people's faces as it plays out on screen, they are capturing actual... like shock, surprise, fear.
Well, it's reminiscent of another horror movie that we watched that we didn't mention earlier, but The Thing. You can certainly tell that some of those people were not prepared to see and smell the shit
for that
John Carpenter put them through. The Thing,
yes.
to this day, the scariest movie I've ever seen. Still.
Oh yeah,
that movie freaks me out, man. It's just terrible.
But there's two very critical moments in this movie that scare the shit out of me. And the chestburster scene is one of them, but it's the second of the two scenes that scare the shit out of me. The first scene that scares the shit out of me whenever it's Kane and Dallas and who's the other one that's with him? Is it Lambert that's with him? I think it is. And
Lambert's freaking out the entire movie.
The moment that the face hugger jumps up out of the thing and then lands right on John Hurt's mask. I mean, that's a incredibly visceral moment. Every single time that I watch it, I look for that moment. I can't wait for that moment to happen in the film. And, guys, I watch movies a shit ton of times. I can't even begin to tell you how many times I've seen this film. I've seen this film so many times. And whenever I became a crazy fanatic of H.R. Giger, whenever I was in my early teens, it became a staple that was constantly in rotation.
I mean, did you own every Korn album ever released up until like 2003 or what?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, I'm just letting you know. Jonathan Davis, the lead singer of Korn, he commissioned H.R. Giger to create his microphone stand. So all the music videos, all the live shows that you see with Korn, they were all products of H.R. Giger's artwork on stage. So for any new metal fans out there, let us know. Send us an email, send us a message. Did you like Korn? Did you like Aliens? Did you like one or the other? Or do you hate both of them?
Yeah, dude. Real quick, if you guys will mind talking about this, we haven't talked a whole lot about the director of this movie, Sir Ridley Scott.
Mr. Scott?
Ridley Scott, we've done one of his movies before,
Blade Runner.
And I just want to tell you guys, his first 3 movies were The Duelists, then this movie, Alien, and then Blade Runner. What a fucking way to start there.
Can you imagine fucking following up Alien with Blade Runner?
I'm telling you.
I mean, just think about the complexity of something like that.
Is it luck, or is it just pure, like...
No, man. And
I have a theory.
thing.
I have a theory with Ridley Scott, and maybe, Tyler, you're about to say the same thing. Maybe not. We tend to disagree a lot, but we'll see. Ridley Scott is really, really good at visualizing the way he wants the movies to look and feel. The effects in his movies and the environments, the setting, he knows exactly what he wants out of it. And I know that there's a lot of work that goes into it, but he knows the people that he needs to bring in. It's really, really impressive. I mean, we talked about Blade Runner and like the world that's in and everything, all the details about it that make it so special. But even movies like Kingdom of Heaven, they're really, really
Gladiator,
yeah, Gladiator's amazing.
I mean, he did G.I. Jane apparently.
Black Hawk Down.
Oh, G.I. Jane.
I just bought Black Hawk Down recently in 4K.
Man, I'm telling you, I was going through his entire filmography, and I was like, okay, so A, have I watched these movies? B, what do I kind of rate these movies? And like you start, because after you get through Blade Runner. You have Legend. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It is it's Tom Cruise. It's Tom Cruise whenever he was super, super, super young. Yeah. And it is this dark fucking fantasy thing. And it is horrifying in so many different aspects to it. And, it's incredibly well done. It'll fuck you up when you watch it as a kid. And, on up Black Rain, Thelma and Louise. If you haven't seen Thelma and Louise, it's incredibly well-made film.
I forget that's Ridley Scott.
1492 is, some people really like it. It wasn't one of my favorite movies. White Squall, if you really want to be completely messed up by a movie, you should watch White Squall because it's one of those that, man, there's some tragedy that's hard to watch in something like that. But it is incredibly, incredibly well done. G.I. Jane, say what you want to say, about Demi Moore and, the career that she has had, but she is a fucking badass in that movie. and it was all the entire world could talk about for a long period of time.
Yeah, I watched G.I. Jane when I was like 10.
Same.
Yeah.
And I probably shouldn't have, but
probably hated it, but at the same time, I also thought it was super cool. I just remember that scene where they're like doing the hazing and shit.
Oh yeah,
and they're like beating the shit out of her. I was like, do they really do that? Like they're like full on punching him and torturing him. Like
Navy SEALs, man.
Are they allowed to do that? Like I know that they they need to prepare, but I don't know if they go as far as they do in that movie. American Gangster too, also.
Yeah, man, American Gangster. I mean, there is so much that he has been able to bring. Like say what you want to say. But like Robin Hood, it's a guilty pleasure. Is it a Prince of Tides? Excuse me. Is it a Prince of Thieves? Is it Prince of Thieves or Prince of Tides? I can't remember.
I think it's Thieves.
Those are two different movies, by the way. Do what now? Yes, that's exactly what it is. But like shit, man. Black Hawk Down, and then one of my favorites of his entire filmography is Gladiator. I mean, it's. Did we
do Gladiator?
Part of my 4K steel. We haven't done Gladiator yet, but it's definitely one of those. Do what now?
I know we haven't now, but like for some reason I had it in my mind.
It's been mentioned. It's been
we've mentioned it.
Are we that far along in this podcast where we think we've done stuff we haven't?
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, it's been almost a year for you guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's Russell Crowe and Joaquin Phoenix. It's the first truly great, incredibly great Joaquin Phoenix performance that we get. Just a fucking phenomenal movie. And I cannot wait until we do the podcast about it. So, I mean, a very storied career, very incredible career. And talked about last time I talked about Ridley Scott, talked a little bit about his brother as well, Tony Scott. It just they come from a very talented family, incredibly talented family of filmmakers that really know what they want the end result to be and are really, really good at being able to provide that. So, hey Austin, we haven't heard a lot from you this podcast. Kind of give us your thoughts on like favorite moments or just your overall thoughts about the film.
Hey man, I'm glad you asked. So first I want to start my 3-page talk about Alien with Hannah. Actually watched it with me on the other night, and Hannah fucking hated it. Hannah did not like it whatsoever. And
she also didn't like Jingle All the Way, so
that's also true. And take these opinions with a grain of salt. But it is specifically with what I'm about to tell you now. One of the main reasons that she didn't like Alien is because of the scene towards the end of Alien when Ripley gets in the escape ship, and she's flying away. The Nostromo explodes, and she starts, stripping down, and like the moment that you see like Ripley in like in that underwear that was like obviously too tight for her, you know what I mean? Of course, I wasn't thinking anything of it. I was just like, whatever, the 70s. But the second that Hannah saw that scene, she immediately just clocked out. Like she was already not enjoying the movie, but like that was like the tip of the iceberg for her. Like she was like, nope, this is fucking stupid. Why would anyone wear their underwear like that? This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And I was like, come on, like you got to give it a little slack. I mean, come on.
If I can jump in and just say like my research on the movie here was Sigourney Weaver. I mean, she even mentioned at the time like she did not appreciate this scene because they kind of made her as an actress, her first film, her first experience on set. They told her like, hey, you're going to wear this underwear that's, too small for you. It's for the shot of the film. She didn't appreciate that. She honestly, and from what I read, I don't know if this is true, she wanted to do the scene completely butt naked. Like she was like, it makes more sense. It's more realistic for my character to not wear anything, for my character to be comfortable and feel completely just natural at this point where I'm safe. I want to be naked. I want to not have anything on. And they were like, no. Well, we have to keep it R, but we want it to be revealing. So, you have to keep in mind it's still the 70s, it's still the early 80s. There had to be some sexualization of the movie. And throughout the whole movie, we don't get that. We get a very, a very true action horror film with no kind of like, oh, she's a woman, she's in danger, until the very end of the movie. And even then, I think what we got was not exactly the same Hollywood aspect of like, let's sexualize this woman and make her the heroine in the final moments. But you also have to realize that the actress herself, Sigourney Weaver, did not appreciate the way that shot was shot, and she ultimately wanted it to be a full
because it
like, hey,
it seems so like not in the tone of the movie prior to that.
Right.
So I get it. I remember even like when I was younger watching it that I was caught off guard by that. I was like, what's happening right now? I'm like, is Dad about to throw the sheet on the TV or something? Like, of course we don't get there, but yeah. Even this time I was like, I always kind of forget that scene's in there because I just kind of don't consider it as like really integral to what's happening.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of how I have viewed it. I never really even thought about it from that particular standpoint. I always thought of it as, because Ripley was kind of desexualized the entire film, because it didn't really matter if she was a male or a female character throughout the entire film, and it is only there at the end that you're like, oh shit, that's right. This is the she's a very beautiful woman as well as being this incredible fucking badass. And I didn't feel like it was like overly sexualizing or anything like that. I hate that it's, that's kind of especially if it's Sigourney Weaver's takeaway that, she had specifically during the making of the film and anything like that. I just thought that, it was a little odd that's kind of how they're going to wrap everything up. Kind of seemed a little bit unnecessary, but I just always assumed that they were presenting, like a more feminine side of this really hard, badass character that you have seen for the last 90 minutes.
Yeah, and my takeaway of it as well was not that there was anything necessarily sexual about it, but it was her liberation, as a woman to finally have peace and quiet and aloneness, that she felt comfortable enough to, realize she's on her way to safety. She's now on a single ship by herself. She can kind of be comfortable. She can take off her work gear. She can take off her, her fucking protective gear. And at this point, and that kind of plays back into the whole overall theme of the alien being an imposter, an alien being this sexual violence of like, again, really, if you look at the movie as a whole, the alien is a creep. The alien is a predator that comes onto this peaceful vessel that has established itself as a predator, and it's there to individually take out one by one and violate these individuals.
Or were the humans encroaching upon its space and it felt it had to defend itself?
No, because let's restart everything.
No, hold on. Now when the face hugger hugs Kane, right, and it impregnates him with the alien, would I be wrong in assuming that the alien would then inhibit some of Kane's characteristics as a person because it's using him as a vessel? So if the alien is being like a sexualized deviant, could it have gotten that from Kane because it was impregnated
I don't think
from
so,
him?
Personally,
no,
I don't know,
because
man.
it's like a parasite that lays an egg inside of a.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
I don't know if there's like
doesn't matter if it's inside of a human or an alien. Doesn't matter.
I don't know. That's a pretty. Damn
I would say,
theory.
like, to Austin's point, like from the perspective of the movie and maybe like a metaphorical point. Sure,
I get it.
I could go with that.
Well, keep in mind that when they found these aliens for the first time, when they all realized it was an alien vessel, the only reason they made it to this planet was because the prime directive from the company, from the corporation, was that they needed to go to this planet. No one knew about it. No one knew about it except for Mother and Ash, the two AIs on the ship. The humans of the vessel were none the wiser to the fact that they were ultimately to be sacrificed. Ash, his ultimate directive was get the alien subject, bring it on the ship, and bring it back for exploitation. I mean that's what it was. I mean the AI's objective was to capture alien life. And when they received this message, it was, hey, let's check this out. Let's go to the planet. Let's figure out what's going on here. They get there, and what happens? Ash is the one that lets them in. Ash is the one that's like, oh, don't attack it. Don't mess with it. When Parker pulls out the knife at the dinner table and he's about to stab the little alien in his chest.
Should have just stabbed it. Ash stops him. Should have just
stabbed it right then. Ash says, oh, don't mess with it. Don't mess with it.
Oh, there were many opportunities where this entire thing could have been avoided. There were several different decisions.
Correct. Yeah, but at each turn, it's Ash making the decision.
Let me pivot. Let me pivot. I'm not to be a fucking socialist, but this is a very fucking wise commentary, a social satire of the capitalist agenda, with the fact that this corporation is sacrificing human life.
Here we go.
And allowing them and exploiting their work ability to profit the company and create a weapon that can be used and further sold to other companies. And the ultimate directive here is that I don't care who dies. We provided our income and provided our funding, and we supplied a AI to make sure that everything goes as planned and that this alien subject comes back to us and that we can study. And it's the exploitation of the workers and the lower blue-collar working class that all sacrifices themselves to bring back the resources that the corporation wanted in the first place.
Man, it's all about the military-industrial complex, man.
1979.
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
no, dude, I'm right
I'd
there
say
with you.
yes, but if this were like a competition where we were going to have a debate here, I would mention to you that in the beginning of this episode, you mentioned how if everyone had just followed the rules laid out by the company, they would have been fine. So you kind of contradict yourself there.
I'm not wrong though. Be. Yeah, I mean, I'm not wrong. If they would have
more so with
followed procedures, if they would have followed procedures and not tried to go balls to the wall,
but that's also
and
super
being
capitalist because they give you these procedures that they know you can't follow in many situations, so that way they have a reason to not pay you your workers' comp when a face hugger attacks you.
Yeah, and on both sides of the spectrums, if they would have just ultimately said, hey, workers, by the way, as a company, we're sending you on a mission to gather alien life, versus just saying, go check out this message, and not letting them even know. Like when Parker beat Ash's head in, he thought he was killing a human being. He was ready.
Oh, yeah.
He was ready to kill a human to save her because he thought that she was being attacked and ultimately violated. He was ready to kill a human and goes, oh, God, he's a robot.
And the fact that he is kind of the central motivating theme behind the next film. So,
Wait, what's the next film?
Is it time to transition?
No. I was just saying Aliens.
Oh,
no, I'm just saying
okay.
Because I was like,
the sequel to this film.
Kill Bill has nothing to do with that.
Yeah, I was like, I'm pretty sure there's no robots in Kill Bill at all.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, no.
I think we actually are just about there.
It's getting there.
In the transition?
Yeah.
Are we transitioning?
Even though we introduced our new way of picking movies last week, we are not doing that this time because we already know.
Not doing that this time.
Exactly.
Finally,
there's not a lot to
another
discuss.
Quentin Tarantino film.
Yeah.
How many?
So
have you all already seen Kill Bill though?
Before we tie up Alien, Austin, do you have anything else that you wanted to be able to add?
Well,
you had a 3-hour dissertation.
Oh yes.
What was it? What's your least favorite thing about this movie?
My
though?
personal,
whether
least
it be
favorite?
visuals, writing, acting, like what did you not like about the movie?
That's the thing, man. The way I got introduced to Alien initially is I played the video game Alien Isolation, and that was before I had even seen any of the movies. And I played that game all the way through to the end, and I thought it was such a fucking masterwork that I was like, okay, I have to watch all these movies now. and I watched literally all of them. My brother actually bought me all of them on Blu-ray, at least Aliens 1 through 4, and I watched all of them, and I was like, wow, the first two are great, and so
yeah,
that's how I got introduced to Alien in the first place. And like Alien Isolation, I loved so much, and even just talking about this movie makes me want to boot it up and just say fuck The Evil Within 2. I'm going to play Alien Isolation.
You want to talk about a movie that will also scare the ever-loving shit out of you? It's Alien Isolation.
I'm telling you,
man, oh man,
that game is something else.
That game is
I had
too
to put
scary
that game
for
up
me.
a couple times.
What, you
Scary
can't
for
you can't
me.
finish Alien Isolation?
Man, I'm telling you, there's just something about like being in a like when you're playing it. The only real way to play it is hugged up to your monitor in complete darkness in the house and like super late at night, and then you're playing Alien Isolation, and then you turn around and there's a fucking xenomorph right in your face. And it stabs this thing right through your chest. Yeah, man. That's good stuff.
I mean, or you're like walking through the vents and you can hear the thumps of it walking around outside the vents, and then it gets in the vent with you, and boy, howdy. You want to make soup out of your fucking pants, it's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
But
well, guys, hey, before we wrap it up, I just want to do one quick round of Rubyen's box office special.
Oh,
That's what
yeah.
I'm
Here we
calling it
go.
this time.
Here we go. We ready?
I mean, just an idea. Like, what do you guys think the budget was on a movie like
Oh, I
this?
know.
1979.
I know.
Tyler's
Tyler's
you need
out.
to not like
No.
just research stuff, okay?
Okay. right.
Since I'm not a narc like Tyler, let's see. I'm gonna guess 10 million.
Okay.
All right, we got 10 million from Logan.
Austin, what's your
here's
guess?
the
Austin, what do you
thing,
think?
kids. I've had the IMDb pulled up the whole time, so I've already seen
Okay.
it.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. You're super
Well,
close.
It's
So
just me. I didn't know.
just
Yeah.
just
Damn.
Logan.
So
just
now
Logan.
I'm just unprepared, is what you're saying.
Well,
Yeah.
hey, dude. To be honest, dude, the estimated budget was 11 million. So
Oh,
that's
okay.
really good
$11.
on your part.
Okay.
Really good on your part.
Yeah.
Nice.
Really close.
But ultimately, this movie grossed worldwide over its run $106 million. I mean, almost 10 times its budget.
Tenfold.
You can definitely see why they were like, hey, let's milk this, and they made Aliens, Alien 3, Alien Resurrection, Alien versus Predator, Alien Covenant, Prometheus.
Alien versus
going, guys.
Jason.
Did you know, I was looking earlier, the very first Alien video game was made in 1982.
Really?
Think about that for a second.
Yeah, that's
For
crazy.
Atari, they made an Alien video game for Atari in 1982.
I had no idea about
Okay.
that.
This is a franchise that has stood the test of time and continues to exist. And I don't think we're done. Like, I don't think we're done with the
yeah.
Alien, now that Disney owns it, I want to see what happens here. Like, do we bring Alien into the MCU? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just
No,
kidding.
definitely not.
I do know that
But,
while you may not be able to see it on Disney Plus right now, you can see it on HBO Max, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
HBO
Absolutely.
Max. Had to get that up.
We almost made it all the way through.
Yeah.
You know,
We were
even
almost
in
done.
talking about Zack Snyder's Justice League, I didn't talk about HBO Max.
HBO
If you're not a
Max.
subscriber of HBO Max, if you go to hbomax.com/sign up now. That's totally not a link.
I also,
Um,
before we wrap up,
Hey, but wait, before we get off of like box office totals, so I just did a real quick, some Googles. I did some Googles.
Here we go.
And was able to come up with a worldwide box office total for the Alien franchise films. Okay,
in
Does
general,
anybody-
all of them,
all of them. Okay,
So I,
All right.
oh, boy.
1.8 billion.
okay.
I'd say more than that.
Oh,
I'd say,
I would say that's too high. I
Too
would
high.
argue that's too high.
fuck,
Okay.
dude, that one
Austin,
movie
what's
made
yours?
100 million.
Yeah, one movie, okay, and then the second
Yeah.
one was pretty solid. And you got to remember, man, that third and fourth one were really bad. And
Yeah,
then
but
Prometheus
that doesn't mean that
Not-
they didn't
not
have
in the-
money.
Box office and cult hits.
I'm
don't
going to say
make it-
2.5 million or billion, excuse me.
I think that's
Oh.
incredibly
You
too
doubled.
high.
You doubled mine.
Um,
Austin's like, I don't know, 500 million.
no, I wouldn't say that low. I'm, and I could be 100% wrong, but I'm scared to even say that it's over 1 billion. Like,
Okay.
I feel like it's probably between 900 million and 1.1 billion is what I'm thinking.
If we were playing Who's the Closest, Ruby, you win. Gross worldwide box office is $1,629,600,000.
It still seems low to me. It still seems
so you also have to keep into consideration that if you were to take Alien and you were to use like based upon like today's box office numbers versus 1979's box office numbers,
1 billion.
So adjusted for inflation, it is $278 million for Alien. Yeah.
1 billion in 1979 equals how much in 2021?
Well, it's not inflation. $1 billion in 1979. Inflation. This is the entire franchise. So the entire franchise, somewhere in the neighborhood of $1.63 billion. Man, that's why they continue to make these movies. Because, even if you don't spend a whole lot of money on them and you kind of have an idea of what the overall arcing story is going to be, I mean, you get Sigourney Weaver doing badass Sigourney Weaver things. So how could you go wrong there? And, going into the second film, they had no idea that the second film was going to be what it actually became. And James Cameron's take on the Alien franchise and really just turn things in a completely different direction. That's I guess that's for the Aliens podcast.
Yeah.
Alien 2.
Alien 2.
We're definitely doing that.
Alien 2 worse than Aliens 3.
Didn't Aliens come out like 7 years after the first one?
Aliens, it was 86.
How dumb is that? Just put an S on it because it's the second one.
Yeah, but how dumb is to wait almost a fucking decade to make a sequel
80s.
to that movie?
There are some places in the universe you don't go alone. Aliens.
Alan.
This time it's war.
Did you say Alan? Was that Jurassic Park 3?
No.
Alan.
Have you not ever seen that shirt, that meme shirt from Alien where it says in space no one can hear you in space, and it says Alan and it's like a picture of the egg upside down. Like, it's so stupid, but I want it.
I love that. I'd like that as well.
I want to come in real quick before we wrap up with an alternate take here.
Oh, go.
Across
the
board.
Where you tell me it sucks? Because I'm just going to go ahead.
I'm not saying it sucks. I'm not saying it sucks. I'm just saying Saint Just, Preppy 3, Cody Diedrich, Helios Burner, Biller 12.
Are these people that left reviews?
These are all reviews from the 90s. Real quick, I want to break down. Maybe this movie wasn't as good as we thought it was. All right?
Or they're dumb.
Some of the early review ratings we have here from St. Just, May 29th, 1999. What do people see in this film? I'm not one for horror films, though I do like this alien stuff. Nothing happens in this film. Nothing. We spent most of the time waiting and waiting and waiting for something to happen. This movie could have been cut in half an hour. Easy. There is a saying that says that fear is being scared of the unknown. Something that the X-Files has done really well. Unfortunately, this film has tried to do this too, and it's gone too far.
Okay, you can stop reading at any particular point
I'm done
in time.
at that point?
Yeah,
okay.
Completely unnecessary. And look,
Alien
there are some
is simply
people
a boring movie that
have
deserves
a bad
no credit.
take on a
That's
movie.
how he
It's
ends
not a big deal.
Okay,
that's just a bad take.
But I just want to let you know that's a bad take. 61 people agree with him, and it continues at this point. St. Just, again, he replies a couple months later.
I don't care about these 90s jabronis.
St. Just says, this movie is so slow, very dull, very boring.
It's not.
I think this is Donald Trump at this point.
Very boring, very dull, no excitement at all.
Preppy 3 in 2002
The main woman, a 4.
How is this considered a classic is beyond me. I saw it when it first came out in 1979. I was 16. I was basically bored and disgusted. 22 years later, my opinion hasn't changed. Why do I hate this? Let me count it out. He lists 12 reasons why he hates this movie.
Okay.
And it continues. Why is Indiana Jones on a spaceship? Incredibly overrated. Creatively
Yeah, why
bankrupt.
is Indiana Jones on a spaceship?
Like
That's
watching
That's how we
paint dry.
started
Check your
the
brain at the
pre-recording
door.
of this.
Snail paste. Wow. Overrated, boring film.
All right.
95%
Listen,
crap acting.
listen.
Twisted.
I want to let you guys
Theorist-
know that
just
next
continues.
week we are watching Kill Bill. And it is the
You know-
fourth Tarantino movie we're watching on this podcast, right?
Hey, what's the fifth one?
Oh yeah.
What?
I mean,
What's
I'm
the
ready.
What's the fifth Quentin Tarantino movie?
Kill Bill 2.
Volume 2.
He.
What are you
so
talking
That's
about?
what he did. Like he made the first one and then just immediately made the sequel.
I
believe so, yeah.
I think he shot a lot of them back to back like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, it was shot exactly like Lord of the Rings. They went down to
They went to New Zealand. Except this time, instead of focusing on hairy feet, they focused on women feet.
That sounds about right. That sounds about right.
Oh man, I can't wait. Can't wait.
Well, hey,
to talk
guys,
a little
listen,
Uma Thurman, a little David Carradine, some Michael
R.I.P..
Madsen.
I appreciate you guys letting
Daryl
me take
Hannah.
over this podcast and kind of, doing the hosting abilities here. But I'm going to sit back next episode. I think Kill Bill is fantastic, but I want to hear what you guys have to say.
It's going to be
I think I'll have a word or two about it.
it's going to be a deep dive, I think.
Are we deep diving both movies, or are you telling me we're only doing Kill Bill 1?
What?
We're gonna do Kill Bill 1, and then we're gonna wait 10 episodes, and then we're gonna do Kill Bill 2.
Jesus
So
Christ.
interesting.
Yeah, goddamn right we are.
Actually, you know what
2.5
though?
months.
Actually,
No, I think we're
I think maybe we could consider combining them. It's up to you guys.
sure.
But maybe that's
No.
something we talk about during the week.
Absolutely. Sounds like a 4-hour podcast to me.
No.
I'd be fine with.
No.
Well, hey guys,
We will do two separate.
I got you, you son of a bitch. I got you.
Yes.
We're wrapping up the Alien podcast here. I think we're coming to an end. Tyler, Austin, Logan, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I'm going to call it quits on my end. You guys have anything else?
Nah,
Love you guys.
this is fun. We still do it. On average, a podcast makes it the first 7 episodes, and here we are getting ready to hit number 40. So we're
That's
doing
awesome. Proud of you guys.
it. All right.
Take it easy.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Later.